Hey guys, today we're going to go over this Jay Dyer video and give some counter arguments to the stuff he says in it. So let's go ahead and get started.
You gotta unmute, man. What's up? We got ancient philosophers in here. Don't know how to work the internet. Unmute.
Yo.
Uh-huh.
How can the Bible be inspired if it has contradictions?
I don't believe that it does.
So there are contradictions in the Bible. You know, a lot of them do have explanations that theologists have come up with over the years. However, one pretty good one is Genesis 32:30, where it says, "So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, 'For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered.'" And then in John 1:18, it says, and this is the New Testament, it says, "No one has ever seen God, the only God who is at the Father's side. He has made him known." So we got in one place, it says Jacob has seen God face to face, and then in another place, no one has ever seen God. So it's a contradiction.
Can I show you one?
Well, even if I admit that there are contradictions, why would I accept your worldview? What's your worldview?
Well, that's kind of changing the topic. So I guess you don't.
No, but let me grant that. Okay, there's contradictions in the Bible. So what should I believe?
You can believe whatever you want. You can be a Christian if you want.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah, so Jay here, he's moving the goalpost and counterattacking instead of dealing with the contradiction issue. Now, I don't have to give Jay, a better foundation than God, right? I just have to show that a worldview of nature plus evolution plus logic does the exact same job that Jay's does, meaning that it explains why we can trust reason, why logic works, why morality exists, etc. But mine doesn't require a single extra entity, right? Jay's worldview needs a God, the Trinity, angels, miracles. It also requires God to be eternal. Many, many assumptions. Mine needs none of that shit. Now, it is true that we both bottom out on something unprovable. At least at this time, it's unprovable. Jay says God just is, and I say the basic structure of reality just is. Mine has fewer parts, less entities, less assumptions. Therefore, Occam's razor, mine wins until Jay shows why all that extra baggage is in fact mandatory. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. He can just keep shouting about divine revelation, which would be circular, or attempting to attack atheism by shifting the burden of proof. Now, I think it's very important to mention that most theists get this wrong, but atheism just means that I have a lack of a belief in a God. So it isn't a positive or a negative claim. Therefore, the burden of proof is on the theist.
What position do you think is correct?
Live life to the fullest, be happy, and make everybody else without hurting anybody else.
Okay, well, so why should I believe that? Why ought I do that?
You don't want to be happy? You want to be miserable?
Well, but what if what makes me happy is to be a tyrant or the Kwisatz-Haderach or something?
That doesn't work because we end up just overthrowing those guys and killing them all.
Okay, well maybe life should have.
I'm not sure what that word was he said, the Kwisatz-Haderach. Let's see, that was at 113. Yeah, I don't know what that word was he said. It doesn't show up right in the transcript.
Maybe life should have battles and warfare and overthrowing.
Because we've done it over and over for thousands of years, and it's
why
horrific.
Does that make it wrong?
It doesn't work.
Why does that make it wrong?
It's in the Bible. We tried it, and it's horrific. It doesn't work.
Why does that make it wrong on your position?
Because we hate it. We don't like it.
Nobody likes it. That's a fallacy. It's a appeal to the masses.
Okay, so
your position is based on fallacies?
No, it's not a fallacy. We don't like
appeal to the masses.
This guy he's debating is just way out of his He's like a fish out of water. He just doesn't know what to do. He's just flailing about.
Appeal to the masses, you don't think that's a fallacy?
Appeal to what?
The masses is not a fallacy?
I don't know. What's the word?
All right, so let's go over this here. So basically, we're all stuck in the same arena, right? Whether Jay likes it or not. That's a brute fact, not an appeal to popularity. Even if Jay's view is correct, for instance, and there is a God, it doesn't matter if I have no belief in the God. We're still in the same arena at the end of the day. The only moral rules that are rationally binding on any particular person that is capable of hypothetical reasoning are the ones no one could reasonably reject if they were choosing said rules without knowing their future place in society. So, if you don't know if you're male or female, you don't know if you're poor or rich, powerful or, at the bottom of the totem pole, you don't know any, your socioeconomic, gender, you don't know any of that shit. What kind of rules would you make, right? That's the John Rawls' veil of ignorance. And this isn't about a simple consensus. Instead, you can think of it like a veto power. So a rule is wrong if a rational person could reasonably refuse to accept it in order to avoid being mistreated. So tyranny fails that test instantly because no rational person would accept a system where they might not, or where they might wake up as a victim. So basic game theory tells us that unless you are invincible, cooperation is the only rational strategy. So defecting, cheating, backstabbing, etc. only makes sense if you hold all the power and never have to deal with the consequences, a luxury that no human has. Divine command theory takes that structure and freezes it. It imagines a scenario where God holds all the power permanently and uses it to enforce a one strike and you're out game. You aren't agreeing to the rules because they are fair. You're submitting to them because you know God can crush you. Now, I prefer a system based on mutual agreement and not fear. So morality, in summary, morality equals rules that no fully rational person could reject if they didn't know their place in society. Tyranny fails that test. And, God enforces rules that nobody had any say in under threat of infinite punishment. And that is the worst possible contract, not the best.
You don't know what appeal to the masses is?
Appeal to the masses. Oh, that.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what you keep doing.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying none of us.
You are doing that. You said we believe. We don't want to do that. We. Well, who's we?
Do you want to be in pain?
Maybe I do. Sure, I'm a sadomasochist. All right, yeah.
I assume you make millions on
Who's
YouTube
the we?
because it makes you happy.
I make
You
millions on
because
YouTube.
it makes you happy.
Yeah,
so.
I make millions of dollars. I make billions on YouTube. You keep appealing to we. Who is the we, and why are we supposed to believe that?
Well, you asked me.
Who is the we? Why should we do that?
Humanity. Everyone who's ever existed.
Okay, that's an appeal to the masses fallacy. You get it again. You did it again.
Okay.
Why do you keep laughing?
Because you don't want to address the contradiction.
No, I'm granting you. Okay, there's contradictions in the Bible. So what ought we believe?
I just told you, just be happy.
And
believe whatever
yeah,
makes
but
you
that's
happy.
a fallacy. So you want me to believe fallacies? See, this is why you're stupid.
Okay, you're a fallacy. I mean,
I do enjoy watching his videos. He's pretty funny.
Good one. Yeah. So be sure and clip that. That was classic. Luke.
He said you're a fallacy.
Good one. Yeah. So
Oh, wait.
be sure and clip that. That was classic. But that's a fallacy. So you want me to believe fallacies? See, this is why you're stupid.
okay, you're a fallacy. I mean,
You're a fallacy. Okay, that's pretty funny. All right, so kind of in closing here, so basically the criticism here is that a secular worldview lacks a transcendent moral anchor, and my response is that such an anchor is imaginary. Morality is not a cosmic law; it's a biological and social adaptation. So we have empathy and reciprocal instincts because they helped our ancestors survive. When those instincts fail, we use force. That would be like our laws and the police, etc., to protect the group. And this works for 99.9% of human interactions. So by contrast, the religious argument fails the Euthyphro test. So you could ask yourself, is something good because God commands it, or does God command it because it is good? If God commands it because it's good, then goodness is a standard higher than God, and he isn't the source. However, if it's good because God commands it, then morality is arbitrary. God could command torture tomorrow, and it would become moral. Your system, or the system of the Bible, doesn't solve the problem; it just hides it, right? So, this God commanding torture thing isn't that far fetched. You have like the book of Job in the Bible, where God makes the wager with Satan and allows Satan to torture Job, removes his protection from him. So you could say that God is in fact complicit in torture. Anyways, if you did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I've got many more videos coming soon. Peace.